Hi friends, welcome to MVS Online Academy. In our academy, we started Indian Polity series for UPSC, State Public Service Commission and all other competitive examinations. Today, we are going to discuss UPSC preparation strategy, how to prepare for UPSC Civil Service Examination, how to crack the UPSC Civil Service Examination. With each and every point we will discuss in this video. Mode of examination. There are three levels: preliminary level, mains and interview. Preliminary examination is multiple choice examination, means objective oriented examination. Mains examination is a descriptive examination, means subjective examination. Third level is interview or the personality test. In prelims and mains, your knowledge is tested. But in personality test or so-called interview, your personality, whether you are fit for the civil service or not, it is judged in the interview. Nature of examination. There are two types of competitive examinations: knowledge-based exam and skill-based exam. UPSC is a skill-based exam. Other competitive examinations like Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, they are knowledge-based examinations. What is the difference between knowledge and skill? Knowledge, it is a theoretical part, but a skill is a practical experience. You have knowledge. For example, you take preparing tea, chai making. You watched on YouTube or you read somewhere how to prepare a very tasty tea. But you never practiced. You did not have any experience how to make the tea. You started preparing tea. First time, second time, third time, gradually at the final day, you will become an expert in tea making. This is the example what is difference between knowledge and skill. UPSC tests your skill apart from that knowledge. So, sir, how to become a skillful person in UPSC preparation? My advice to all the aspirants is select the minimum books. Read maximum times. Minimum reading and the maximum minimum books, maximum revision is the mantra for success. Whether it is Indian polity, geography, history, you take limited source. Don't run off the material. Now market dumped with the material. You don't run off the material. You are not attracted by those materials. You select a minimum books and repeatedly you prepare the same topic. And in the preparation strategy also different from UPSC and other competitive examinations. For UPSC, you have, first of all, there are two types of preparations. Number one is cover the width of the topic or the depth of the topic. Width and the depth of the topic. UPSC, you need to follow the depth of the topic, depth of the subject. You have to touch the bottom of the subject. At the final day, you will be in the position to make a question rather answer the question. That is the mantra for the UPSC success. I repeatedly say that you will be in the position not to answer the questions. You have to frame the questions. Then you will be a challenge to the question paper. Rather, question paper would be a challenge to you. This is the mantra for UPSC success. Now we will see the prelims preparation strategy. Prelims, there are two papers. Paper 1, GS paper 1, and the second paper, CSAT paper. First let us see paper 1. In GS paper 1, total 100 questions are there. Each question carries 2 marks, total 200 marks. Out of 200 marks, generally cut off around 95 to 105 marks. Here negative marks is there. One should keep in mind, negative marks is there. 33% means for each wrong answer, 1/3 of the mark is deducted from your GS paper 1 score. Now see the what are the topics in paper 1. Current events of national and international. You have to cover international issues and national issues. For this, newspaper is the best source. Indian Express, Hindu are the best source to cover this one. Next, Indian history, Indian geography and world geography, Indian polity. Indian history and Indian geography, the two are the static parts. Means you once prepared thoroughly history and geography, you need not to read repeatedly. Then you spend more time on the dynamic topics like Indian polity, economy. The two are the dynamic topics. You have to put more attention on the dynamic topics. Next, general issues like that environmental issue, biodiversity, climate change. They are purely dynamic concepts. You have to take the source from different government websites and different ministries. In the next slide, I will mention what is the source for each and every subject. Last one, general science like physics and chemistry up to intermediate level. Now paper 2 in preliminary examination, also called as CSAT paper. CSAT means Civil Service Aptitude Test. In this paper, UPSC tests the aptitude of the aspirant. As under aptitude, they will cover comprehension, English comprehension, interpersonal skills and communication skills, logical reasoning, decision making and general mathematical ability. The three covers logical reasoning and arithmetic. Last one, basic numerology means fundamental or basic mathematics up to 10th class. Overall, CSAT paper mainly covers comprehension English, communication skills, reasoning and arithmetic. Last one, basic mathematics up to 10th class. This is the only qualifying paper. Here 80 questions are there. Each question carries 2.5 mark. Total is 200 marks. Out of 200 marks, one has to secure 33% of the qualifying marks. 33% means one need to secure 68 marks in CSAT paper. Then only their GS paper 1 is valid. Otherwise, that is, they are disqualified. Sometimes students performed well in paper 1, but they are not good in paper 2, so that they are discouraged. So you have to maintain the balance between qualifying paper and the GS paper. We should not neglect the GS paper. Simply it is qualifying paper, I can secure 33%. No, you have to maintain the balance between qualifying paper and the marks paper, that is GS paper 1. Now see mains preparation. In mains preparation, the first and foremost important is general essay. How to read general essay, how to write general essay, what is the syllabus for general essay, what is the weightage of general essay in determining our rank. Let us discuss. First of all, UPSC does not mention any specific syllabus for general essay paper. So that with my experience teaching to UPSC civil service aspirants, I mentioned some of the major topics with my previous experience, that is political, economic, sociological, technological, legal and environmental issues are the major topics where UPSC focused in preparing the general essay paper. In general essay, there are two parts are there. Part A means section A, section B. Each given 4. You have to cover, means we have to write at least one from the each section with 1000 to 1200 words. 1000 to 1200 words within 3 hours you have to write. This is all about general essay. To make you happy and a better understanding about general essay paper, I took GS paper 2024, General Studies paper 2024. Some of the questions I mentioned here, you can read that. General Studies paper 1 in the mains examination. First you understand these are all general studies papers. Why they are named general studies? Why they are not named like Indian geography paper, Indian heritage paper, world history paper? Why are not they named so? Because UPSC does not want you to be an expert in Indian history, to be an expert in Indian geography or world geography. They wanted to test your general idea or basics about the Indian geography and world geography, etc. That's why the papers are called general studies papers. At the end of the day, UPSC does not want make every aspirant to be a philosopher or a scholar in Indian history or Indian geography. Simply it tests your basic knowledge. Here I mentioned two questions for your good understanding. How far was the Industrial Revolution in England responsible for the decline of handicrafts and cottage industries in India? The two questions are taken from 2024 mains paper. Second, what is the concept of demographic winter? This is related to society. It is the dynamic chapter, dynamic concept in paper 1. Now GS paper 2, it mainly covers governance, constitution, polity, social justice and international relations. It is purely dynamic concept. So what is the source for the dynamic concept? We will discuss in the next slides. For your better understanding, I mentioned some questions here. I read one question very interesting. This is the second question. Examine the need for electoral reforms as suggested by various committees with particular reference to one nation, one election. Recently, Government of India started moving towards one nation and one election. From that context, the question was asked. Paper 3, it is also dynamic. Technology, economy, biodiversity, environment, internal security or national security and disaster management. The best source to cover paper 3 is government official websites, magazines and newspaper. They are very important source. I mentioned 3 questions. You can read that one. But I read one, that is, explain how narco-terrorism has emerged as a serious threat across the country. Suggest suitable measures to counter narco-terrorism. What is narco-terrorism? Narco-terrorism means cross-border smuggling of the drugs and the fake currency. This is the question asked from internal security topic. Next, what are the relevant books or source to cover history, geography, polity, etc.? NCERT is the first source. Next, other reference books I mentioned here, Ancient India and Modern India, Indian Struggle for Independence. This is the book, very important book for art and culture by Nitin Singhania, very important for art and culture. Then geography. What are the books for geography? Here NCERT is a very important source for geography. Geography, you need not to cover from 6th class to 12th class. Better you start from 8th class. If you have no sufficient time, at least to read 12th class and 11th class. They are very important. And other books also there I mentioned. Here Atlas is very important for geography topic, because in preliminary examination nearly 10 to 14 questions are map based questions. Preliminary examination GS paper 1, out of 100 questions, nearly 10 to 14 questions are map based questions. So that atlas is very, very important. Here I mentioned, practice map-based questions regularly. Yes, they are a common component of the prelims. Indian polity. What are the sources for Indian polity? Number one, Indian Constitution at work, 11th class, and political theory in 11th class. Both are helpful to come to a comprehensive understanding about what is polity, what is the Indian political system and governance. Next, Lakshmikant, these are the reference book. Indian Polity by Lakshmikant, Introduction to Constitution of India by D.D. Basu. These are the very, very important books. Apart from that, I mentioned other issues, update with the current political developments in India around the world. While preparing for mains, connect your knowledge of Indian polity to current affairs topics. See, how to cover Indian polity, Indian economy from the mains point of view. What are the topics regularly appeared on news like Hindu and Indian Express? Probably they are the topics for mains examination, particularly from Indian polity, GS paper 1 and GS paper 2 and paper 3. So that you thoroughly go through the newspaper and magazines. Next, economics. Economics, NCERT 11th and 12th class books are enough. 11th class book Indian Economic Development, 12th class book Macroeconomics, the two are enough. If till you have the sufficient time, better you read from 8th standard. And reference book Ramesh Singh, Indian Economy and Indian Economy by Jayant Parikshit, these are the other issues. Next, newspaper I mentioned here, Indian Express and Hindu Business Standard, they are very, very important. Apart from this, union budget, you need to cover union budget and economic survey. Till you have the time, better you cover ARC report, Administrative Reforms Committee report on economic part of the government as well as the political part of the government. It is the very important source. But it is a huge volume. ARC report is a huge volume, at least to try to cover introduction and conclusion. And magazine I mentioned here, Economic Political Weekly and magazines like Yojana you need to cover for economics. Next, art and culture. Two books from NCERT. They are an introduction to Indian art, second an introduction to Indian art part 2. Both are from 11th class part 1 and part 2. You need to cover the two. And other is Indian art and culture by Nitin Singhania, that is mentioned in Indian history. And you need to put more focus on art, different art forms in India like Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Odissi, and architecture, Indian architecture, North Indian architecture, South Indian architecture, Persian, Mughal architecture, Indo-Islamic architecture. Next, artists and personalities, different artists, famous artists, like recently Zakir Hussain died in America. So we have to cover this kind of news, MS Subbulakshmi, like in Karnataka music. Then museums and artifacts, this is very, very comprehensive information about art and culture. Art and culture is purely static. Means you have to remember each thing, each name and everything you have to keep in mind. Like what is the museum, what is the Bharatanatyam, who is the famous in Bharatanatyam, who is famous in Kathak. So that be careful about this. Science and technology. Science and technology is another important area for mains examination under paper 3. The best source for the beginners is NCERT class 6th to 10th. Next, science and technology class 11th and 12th provide a solid foundation for science and technology topic. Next, current developments in science and technology. For example, you take ISRO and DRDO, NASA, like that. and achievements in biotechnology, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, genetic engineering, vaccines and recent healthcare initiatives. Recent healthcare initiatives are very important because they are the government initiatives. Study the major scientific institutions like ISRO, DRDO, CSIR and ICMR. Ethical and social issues related to science and technology. What is the impact of science and technology on ethical and social aspects? Next, privacy issues, biotechnology and ethics, biotechnology versus ethics, impact of the automation on employment, artificial intelligence, whether artificial intelligence is a boon or ban to the employment. You have to cover all these issues. Last one, science and technology, environment, governance and economics. What is the impact and impact of the new developments in science and technology on environmental factors? How government effectively using the science and technology in delivering the goods and services? And what are the economical implications of science and technology? You need to cover all the issues under science and technology. Environment and ecology. NCERT books, our environment 7th class and environmental studies 11th class, they are the basic source for environment and ecology. Next one, down to earth magazines, 2 magazines, down to earth and environment and ecology. Some websites also there, such as the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change and the World Wildlife Fund. For official information and updates, you have to follow the websites. Environmental laws like Wildlife Protection Act, Forest Conservation Act and the Nation Action Plan on Climate Change, Biodiversity, National Parks, Wildlife Sanctuaries and Biosphere Reserves, all you have to cover. Climate change and Paris Agreement. Paris Agreement is very important because recently new President of United States, Donald Trump, decided to withdraw from 2015 Paris Agreement. Environment and ecology, economics, governance and public health. Last one, government policies and initiatives like the National Action Plan on Climate Change, very important. And Swachh Bharat as well. This year Swachh Bharat is very important because Swachh Bharat completed 10 years. Ethics. It is the 4th paper in mains examination. Ethics syllabus can be divided into 2 segments. One is theoretical part and second is case study part. In theoretical part, there are generally questions asked from 3 areas. Number 1 is the definition of ethical value, means value based questions. Second, significance of the value, and the third one, application of that value in our daily lives. To put it simply, theory questions ask you to explain a value along with the examples. Next, case study questions. Case study brings out our ethical dilemmas and logical reasoning sharply. This is about the ethics paper. But many of the aspirants think that we have the license to write whatever we want in ethics paper. No, that is not the right way. You have to prepare thoroughly, and application based is very important in ethics paper. Here I mentioned what should be read. Number 1, the story of My Experiments with the Truth. Mahatma Gandhi's My Experiments with the Truth is the best source for ethics. Next, ARC reports on ethics in governance, very important. Third one, Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude by Nandan Kishore and Santosh Ajmera. It is printed by Tata McGraw-Hill. The 3 are enough apart from the classroom notes. Now see what are the best news channels for UPSC preparation. Made in India is a television program. On this show, we go through India's past and talks about the inventions and contributions of India to the world. This is related to historical aspect. Better you watch this Made in India program. Next, very important source is Rajya Sabha TV. Under Rajya Sabha TV, there are different multiple programs are there, that is Samvidhan, India Worlds, Policy Watch, Science Monitor, State of the Economy, Security Scam. India's World related to international relations, Policy Watch related to governance, Science Mentor related to SNT, State of the Economy, economical aspects. Last one, Security Scan. This will be helpful in internal security topic in GS paper 3. Let us see word limit. It is related to mains examination. In mains examination paper 1, 2 and 3, each paper has 20 questions. Each paper 20 questions. No choice is there. You have to attempt 20 questions. Out of 20 questions, 10 questions are 10 marker questions. 150 words. 10 questions, 150 words, total 1500 words. 1500. Another 10 questions, 15 markers, 250 words means 2500 words. Overall, in GS paper, every paper, you need to write 4000 words. I divide the 4000 words into the small segments. I take example of GS paper 1, that is Indian history, Indian geography, world history, world geography and society. There are 5 components are there. I divided 5000 words by 5 components, 4000 words by the 5 components. So that on an average, each component gets 800 words or the 1000 words. This is the general idea only. 1000 words on an average. Can't we write 1000 words from Indian history, from Indian polity, from Indian economy? Can't we write 1000 words in marathon preparation of nearly 1 year or 2 years preparation? Yes, we can write. But what is the matter of the discussion is how effectively you present the answer. That makes the difference and that fetch the better marks relatively. That is the key for the success. Wish you success in your examinations. All the best, my dear friends.